Hi, you guys. Like, subscribe. Oh my God, I'm feeling so sick. But I have to tell you, this is the weirdest sickness that I have. I don't know if you guys have experienced this recently, but I've never been sick like this before. So yesterday I was doing my bonus audio in the Patreon, and it takes a lot of intellect to do those, as you guys know, in the way I construct them. And I was like, at first, I'm like, I'm dying, you know? I felt like really out of it, like almost like a drug hangover or something. It was like how I felt. And then all of a sudden, I was like done the bonus audio, but I felt like my nervous system was under attack. Like I was like feeling really woozy, and my body was aching, and my brain was like throbbing. And I was like, oh my God, you know? And I've been on a lot of different things like keto, working out, you know, really healthy. So I was like, what's going on? So immediately I thought, like, I better have some just, you know, carbs and some food, just even break my ketosis, just because, like, you're sick, you know, you don't want to put added burden on your body. So I did. Still didn't make me feel better. And then I just felt like I had to sleep, and I just slept and slept and slept. And I had only 2 symptoms with it, which was I had like, grody mucus. I'm not going to get into detail. A little in my nose, but just a little, and a little in my throat, but then no other symptoms. And it was just attacking my nervous system. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So it made me sick for like 24 hours. Like I couldn't even get out of bed. That's how bad it was. Like almost like COVID, but not COVID. And then it like stopped enough that I could get out of bed, but it was mainly in my brain. Like it was in my head. It was so weird. Anyway, I'm coming out of it, but it's really contagious. My son, I think, gave it to me, and I stayed locked in my room. I didn't want to give it to anybody, but I was like, did any of you guys get this weird, almost like 1 or 2 day virus or bacteria that like attacks your nervous system? I've never had anything like this before, and I've been sick with everything, pneumonia, flu, blah, blah, you name it, I've had it. So it's so weird. What do you think? I need to know. All right, so let's get down to it, shall we? What really came out this week in Beverly Hills land? Well, Sutton Strack came out and said that the scene where she told Dorit to shut up about her kid, and the kid finding out about the divorce before they head off to Garcelle Bouvet's house for her little event or party at the beach, was produced. The producer said they had to go, said to Sutton, go in there and interrupt them and, you know, let's get out of here and go to Garcelle. We're late. Sutton couldn't figure out a way to do it that was smooth on camera, so she abruptly said it, and then it ended up being like a thing, but Sutton was like it wasn't real. So I said on my show today, which I'm going to repeat here, you know, that would really piss Sutton off that Dorit weaponized it, because although, you know, it plays out on camera beautifully, you know, Dorit should know better that the producers probably asked Sutton to do that, and then Dorit used it. So, you know, she's definitely taking every opportunity to throw Sutton under the bus, where someone else might, you know, throw her a bone and not make a big deal out of that, knowing it was the producers who made her do it. Dorit didn't, and took it as an opportunity to be like, you insensitive bitch. Well, there you go. That was one thing that came out. A little off the beaten track, I was completely annoyed, the Patreons will tell you, about Heather Dubrow and Terry Dubrow doing an impromptu like press conference with TMZ on their way out of one of the trendier restaurants in Beverly Hills.
Well, obviously any information about Teddy will be given out by her family, but what we do know is that we heard a little bit of good news today,
yes,
which we were really happy about, and we're sending all of our good wishes and thoughts to Teddy and her family.
And what we do know is she's extremely brave.
Very brave.
And we heard that she's turned a corner a bit, doing very well. Really.
And they decide to say that they've heard good news that Teddy Mellencamp has turned a corner, but all of the information will come from Teddy's family, but yet they're still going to give information. And I just was so annoyed that these people felt that they needed to insert themselves to get press in Teddy Mellencamp's, cancer struggle she's in right now. It'd be one thing if they said, we just want to send our prayers to Teddy, and then talked about something to do with Orange County or whatever. But in fact, that is not what happened. They did a whole thing on Teddy Mellencamp, and it was odd, and why they chose to speak about it felt like a PR thing for me, which really was gross. And so, they did this with Lisa Marie Presley's death. They did this with semaglutide. They did this with their relationship and the cheating rumors at Disney. They now doing it with Teddy Mellencamp's cancer. And they did this with Brandi Glanville and her, imaginary parasites in her face. And I just think, guys, you know what? Just stop trying to be relevant off all these tragedies. Like, you're famous. You don't need to do that. Just, do something else, like your own thing. Like, have your own problems. Jeez. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments. You think it was okay that she did that and he did it? Or do you think, no, it's not okay? Give me a break already, trying to leverage this kind of PR. So you guys may remember I dropped a bunch of hints that the reason Dorit Kemsley came back to Beverly Hills this season to make a shit ton of money was because Lisa Rinna talked her into it and advised her. And if you remember a few shows ago, I told you the GOAT was the one who was advising her to do everything you're seeing on the show, the whole change in her personality. And of course, that's Lisa Rinna. You know this from Erica Jane Girardi. Well, they finally went public with this information, confirming the gossip I told you guys a few weeks ago, and now I'm going to show you. So Alex Baskin said this to Dorit: "It was not certain by any means that you even were going to be part of this season because we had conversations right up until the 11th hour about you doing the show or not doing the show," Baskin told his guest, Dorit. Read on to learn why Dorit changed her mind. Dorit went on to say she didn't really feel like she had any friends in the group anymore except Erica, and that, she was going to have to put a lot out there, blah, blah, all BS. It was probably money. But let's cut right down to this part, which is what I wanted you guys to hear. Although Dorit might be on shaky ground with some of her castmates this season, most notably Kyle Richards, Dorit had former housewife Lisa Rinna to help Dorit decide. She was one of the only people that I opened up to about not wanting to come back or being undecided. Told you guys. Dorit confessed to Baskin. She said to me, "Dorit, if you're going to do it, then do it. No hold bars, guns blazing. You go in and you do it. Be yourself. Don't hold back." And that struck with me. So I told you, Lisa Rinna, she was copying what Lisa Rinna said. "It felt like I was leaving Real Housewives of Beverly Hills too soon, that I had unfinished business," said Dorit. "I had too much I needed to say. I didn't leave the impression that I wanted to leave really of who I am. Well, and also the ginormous paycheck." Like, I just want you guys, it's like, this is so silly because in a way, break the fourth wall already, right? Like, what are you going to do where you can do ads, 2 or 3 a year, make like $1 million that way, and then make, anywhere between 600,000 and $1 million for shooting a TV show when you're not an actress? Like, how do you leave Bravo at this level and go make more money somewhere else? Like, it just isn't happening. And frankly, Dorit has had financial problems, which I think are going to start to come out more and more on the show, for years. So, like, what are we talking about here? I just feel like, cut the crap already. So on tonight's episode, we find out that Sutton has finally figured out what she's looking for in a man, and it's money. A big shocker. We also see Jennifer Tilly flexing with her Dolce & Gabbana connections and jewels, and we see her do Caviar as her event location, which is going to be an over-the-top get-together for the women, which they're all really excited about. And the women dress like this for the party because they're asked to. Mrs. Roper. All but Dorit, who decides to wear Dior and ignore that part of the invitation. I don't blame her a bit because those outfits are just not good looking on anyone, frankly. Although probably a good outfit for Thanksgiving, so you could eat a lot and just lay there. Dorit's closet is full of several $100,000 in clothes and shoes. But one of the themes on tonight's show is going to be Sutton calling out that Dorit is actually Poor Reet. On tonight's episode, we open with Kyle Richards meeting with her Dr. Green to discuss her marriage with Mauricio, and she's upset that Mauricio didn't fight more for the marriage. He seems to be living his best life and leaving her in the dust while she's sort of moping around, although we know she was also seeing Morgan Wade at this time. So anyway, but she, I guess, at this point was feeling like it was still under the radar, and so Mauricio shouldn't be living his best life, which is kind of unusual. We don't really get that position on the show. It's more like Kyle's saying Mauricio sort of threw the relationship under the bus. I'm not sure that was really fair, given the fact that, you know, she was making all these appearances with Morgan Wade and, you know, allegedly dating her pretty publicly, although not admitting to it. So this becomes important later because Mauricio is going to be caught at the airport making out with a girl in Grace. Bose is also studying how many eggs she has in her ovaries, and she finds out she's got 4 sacs. So now it looks like she could maybe carry a baby for her boyfriend, and she wants to do it herself, although she's had a bunch of very difficult pregnancies, and it looks like she may have a shot in her late 40s. So she's pretty excited about that, and we learn that they're going to embark on that journey. So we jump to Jennifer Tilly's party, and Kathy Hilton and Faye Resnick is there. Faye actually speaks in tonight's episode during the fight that takes place between Sutton and Dorit, which is the center point of the, you know, the whole episode of tonight, which happens at Jennifer Tilly's party. She's ready to go. Sutton is like Muhammad Ali going into the scene. We see it. She's sober. She's not drinking. She wants to be so on her game. Anyway, so we see all this kind of happening. So here's the crux of the feud that occurs between Dorit and Sutton with some of the behind the scenes stuff. Basically, Dorit wants to call out Sutton has a drinking problem along with the other women for several seasons, and Sutton is pissed about this because it caused her problems in her, you know, stuff with her husband. And Sutton then has decided, since Dorit won't let this go, that she's going to punish Dorit. And so she decides to call out what she thinks Dorit's biggest Achilles heel is, which is that she wears all these really designer clothes and all this stuff and lives in a big mansion. But in truth, she's not as rich as she appears. And she's actually got no money, and so she's kind of hiding behind this really pretentious facade. And Sutton's just like, you know, girl, I see you, and I know that that's like the biggest whack I could give you. And she delivers that whack tonight, takes a huge risk with the fans in doing so, and just says, you know, you don't have the wallet to come at me in the way that you're coming at me. Like, take a seat because socially you're below me. Now, this is a big thing in Beverly Hills that happens, but people don't articulate it. So someone will have more power, and so people will like kiss that person's ass and be like frightened to upset them because they have big parties, i.e. Kathy Hilton. But at the same time, like, it's kind of an unsaid thing. You don't exactly call it out. So Sutton calling it out was very taboo, which is why everybody had the reaction they had to it, but she didn't care. Because I guess in Sutton's thinking, the truth is Sutton is making like $250,000 a month, and she really makes a lot of money compared to the other women. Jennifer Tilly's the richest in the group, but everybody else is not making that kind of money. I mean, even Bose isn't making that kind of money. Bose did well, but not at that level. So Sutton is got an edge, and she's decided to just use it in plain sight and just not, you know, mess around. So Faye Resnick chimes in and says, listen, Dorit, no offense, but Sutton just wants to be left alone, and she wants to just be able to live her life, whether she drinks or not, and not have people judge her. And it was funny that Faye chose the wallet over Dorit, because we know Faye has hung out with Dorit, but I'd say Kyle has turned Faye against Dorit. Just saying, okay? So then Kyle and Dorit go to the side after this back and forth between Sutton and Dorit. They're not going to back down on each other. They're just like, we hate each other and we're going to leave it at that. And Kyle takes Dorit aside and kind of says off camera that maybe Sutton's triggered by these alcoholic, allegations because her dad died of alcoholism in a way. And so that might be triggering for her. And so, that is something that people aren't taking in consideration. I guess Kyle's almost saying like, maybe I would have attacked Sutton like that a few years ago, but now that I've met her mom and know the whole story, I wouldn't anymore, kind of thing. I think that was her penance for people who know, because she was behind that too, that whole thing. But anyway, so then Dorit doesn't care, and she seems to imply she's got some sort of dirt on Sutton she hasn't dropped. She could go as low as she did with the wallet, but she's not going to do it unless she's pushed. We know she's going to get pushed. It's coming. So Mauricio's caught at the airport in Greece, and Sutton's like, I know for a fact the paparazzi were called. I'm not sure by who, the girl, because she wanted to get, some photography attention with Mauricio or Mauricio, but that was staged. And then Garcelle and Sutton determined that what they think is happening is that Mauricio is attacking Kyle in the media to hurt her, and Kyle is attacking Mauricio in the media to hurt him, but they're doing it sort of passive aggressively, not directly. And so the women think that's what's going on, a war of the roses that's happening in the press. And they don't think all of these sightings with Morgan Wade and Kyle are accidental, etc. And so this is the theory that they end the episode on. Sadly, these pictures to me look totally staged. I mean, come on, right? Like, it's just like he's so bad at acting. Just love you, Mo, but seriously, it's such a bad actor. These pictures that Mauricio took, to me, look staged, which means he wanted to send a message. It had been over a year that they had been separated when these photos were taken. And I think the message was he's moved on. And, I think for Mauricio, if I was to say it, if Kyle is in a relationship with Morgan Wade and that is what's happening, it would be pretty devastating to him that Kyle would leave him for a woman no matter what he did. And I just know his way. Like, I think this is more about him showing that he's still a stud, right? Than it is about like a whack at Kyle. I think he's just trying to say like, I am hot and I could have any girl I want. And look how many young hot girls I have. And like kind of fix the impression that maybe some people felt because Kyle left him for a woman after obviously their relationship had some major betrayal. Well, I'm starting to feel really sick again, so I'm going to leave it here. But I hope you have a great night, you guys, and let me know what you think in the comments. Big kiss.